Hey, what's up, everybody? Hope everybody is blessed and having a wonderful day. Much love to the usual suspects and to the family. Shabbat Shalom to everybody out there, to all my indigenous people. We're going to pick up kind of where we left off. Changed up a little bit on the flutes. Now that my man got the vibe sweeps going again. My boy 432 got it going here. So we're going to listen to the indigenous flutes there on 432. So I'm changing it up here. And loving it, man, loving it. I was actually about to start watching Miss D in the copper colored awakening there, and check out this video she got dropped here. But yeah, man, back up and running. Way to go, man. Way to go. So any case, again, I don't know why I don't know if this is the format or not, but this is what's coming up on my page. So just to show you, but I'm loving it. 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 Alrighty. Again, much love to the usual suspect. Much love to the New Jacks out there, bringing you the indigenous truth. We're gonna pick up where we left off on the from the last video. What we were talking about is Genesis chapter 3, verse 1, and we were also speaking about Exodus in the first commandment. And how each commandment represents the first, represents the sin, and and how the original hijack, this beast, the serpent is more subtle than any beast of the field, is the original hijack, and we're getting into that. We're going through the precepts of Genesis 3 verse 1, and which we're going through verse by verse, and using Genesis 3:1 as a for lack of a better term, as a seed, so to speak, and seeing what the precepts presents when it comes down to what's really being said about this main verse. And as we were going along, we covered Matthew 10:1. Hope y'all can see that all right. Alrighty. Then we went over Mark 3:13, and where's the other one at? Then we went on to Revelations. Revelations, where is it? Did I close it out? I might have closed it out. Yeah, that's the other one I was looking at. Yeah, this is it. Yeah, this is it. All right, Revelations. Excuse me for 1 second, and maybe get it back to like I had it before, so everything can look the same for y'all. Everybody can follow along at least. Alright, fair enough. There we go. And then we had Revelations 12. Let's go just a little bit. There we go. Alright, Revelations 12:9. And how it goes back to Genesis 3:1, Luke 10:18. Revelations 9:1, and if I remember correctly, we were going over Revelations 9:1, and speaking of the three woes. Now, when it comes down to the three woes, because I think that was we covered Luke 8:3-1, okay. And then we got to Revelations 20:3, okay. And we were digging in deep as far as the particular chapters that take you back to, the very first verse. And when you're doing, things by the precepts, it's kind of tricky, but because it can be applied a couple of different ways. And one of the ways that you can apply the precepts is that if they give you the beginning of a chapter, it probably infers the entire chapter that you should look into. So I know I didn't state that before because, again, this is kind of going back to foundation. So I do apologize to everyone out there that is more of a veteran, a sophomore, a senior, a junior in the information. I wanted to kind of cover this for the New Jacks, or anyone that may be trying to break this spell and get in right and follow the very, very first commandment, which is have another, God before the Creator, hey, and sometimes you need to have you have to see the information and put it all together, and then when you go into these other classrooms, such as King Drop or Brother Hiram Mark or Brother Lex Will or Teach Me to Be Priestly, that is Find the Truth, the education. You go into all these other brothers' classrooms and understand where they're coming from. Okay, so don't lose that foundation. In any case, just to pick up what we did last video is we went through Mark 10 and I showed you guys, according to my notes here, when I brought up my notes here, that that Genesis 3, Matthew 10, and Revelation 9 are tied together by the first verse in Genesis 3, the most subtle beast. And then we reviewed that two verses prior to Matthew 10:1 includes what is known as the most peculiar verse in the Bible, or / New Testament, Lord of the Harvest, and Matthew 10 explained how the beast is subtle. And then we went into two verses prior to Revelation 12:9, includes the war in heaven, and he who battles the Archangel Michael. And then we were about to get into the two verses prior to Revelation 9:1, an angel announces the three woes, and I was about to get into Revelations 9:1, how the 3 in 1, the Lords of the Pantheon, and it goes back to understanding, this serpent. Okay, with the Greeks, this Lord of the Harvest here, is when we touched on this dude here, Saturn, and the son of, and you do the history and stuff like that. Saturn is Titan, Titan of capital, wealth, agriculture, liberation, and time. And again, this is the Reaper God. This is the image of the Reaper. And his symbol is the sickle, the scythe. Okay, he has his kids, and his kids in Rome would be Jupiter or Zeus, Neptune or Poseidon, and then you have Pluto or Hades. Okay, and it's really interesting. So when you get into this next topic here of Revelations 9, and we're going to read this a little bit like I did with Matthew, but you need to understand what's going on with this Greek pantheon, and because the Greeks, in all their simplicities of things, they have a peculiar way about them, and they try to be specific about things with their language, or they make it up. But in any case, so you have to understand that the way that they break down the pantheon, because this, again, we're talking about the New Testament being written in Greek anyway. So let me give you kind of a quick rundown of the way it works. So Saturn has these 3 kids, and these 3 kids are what is described as the 3 woes that we're going to get into. Okay. Now, each understand how this works is going to be kind of me dumbing down a lot of comparative history, mythology, and comparative studies. So believe you me, go do your homework or do your research, because it's taken me a lot to kind of drill this together. Basically, the way the story goes here is this: Saturn has, or Kronos, he has, he's what they call the Sky Father. Okay, he sits on the Sky Father's seat, is what I should say. And let me bring this up real quick. He sits on the Sky Father's seat, and the way it works here is he dethroned the prior Sky Father, okay, and Earth Mother, and they prophesy that his children will, same thing's going to happen to him, is that his children are going So what he does, proceeds to do, is he proceeds to eat his children, as he gives birth to them. Well, the firstborn of them is Hades, and once you do your research, you come to find out that that's actually not. I won't say it's not his name, but he has another name, which is Zeus of the underworld. And it's really trippy because he doesn't like to be associated with that, despite the fact that he's the god of the underworld, yada yada yada. And we'll get to that in a second. So then you have then you have Poseidon. He's the next born, and he's Poseidon. And then you have Zeus, and then and when you have Zeus, Zeus is, with the Moses story, Zeus is taken away. He comes back, kind of overthrown. But during this time, again, they considered it the golden age, as it were, of the gods. And when you read about this, this is what they're talking about. The golden age of plenty and peace was under the reign of Saturn, and during the reign of Satan. And the reason why that is because Saturn was, let me turn this down just a little bit so I'm not yelling at y'all. Sorry about that. All right, there we go. Let's see when y'all be able to get the vibe. Rocking out a little bit. All right. So, any case, where was I? Saturn. So, what winds up happening here is, he overtakes this prior Sky Father, and because he's the god of time, he doesn't sit on the sky. He sits on the sky throne, but he's not a Sky Father, or something along those lines, basically. And so, what winds up happening here is that when Zeus or Jupiter hails Zeus, yo Jesus, right? When he takes over Saturn, he becomes the Sky Father, okay? The god of the sky, okay? And then you have, but you kind of have to see this whole family celestial hijack dynamic, okay? Now, Hades, or Zeus of the underworld, he represents the dead or the undead, depending on how you want to, look at that, and the afterlife. Then you have Poseidon or Post-Satan. He represents basically not time, like unlike Saturn here, who represents time. Poseidon represents the flow of time, and basically what they're trying to describe here is a time loop. Let me pull this up here real quick. So, because I want you to, maybe if I give you imagery, the imagery will help explain what I'm trying to articulate. I think it's the how do you spell it? Ouroboros. Ouroboros. I think that's how you spell it. I think that's it. Yeah, let's see. Right. Okay. Perfect. And I'm glad they got both of them up here so that you can kind of get what I'm talking about here. Let me make this full scale. So, the snake that feeds upon itself, okay? You see this all over the place. Well, this is basically Satan, okay? This is Saturn, the Lord of the Ring, okay? Now, when he has Poseidon or Poseidon, it goes from this image here to your eternity symbol here. This is why Poseidon becomes the god of time. It's time twisted upon itself. And when you basically do the legends and how the legend works and what they're describing here, in the Hades and Zeus are basically twins. They're the same being in two different timelines. And when Poseidon, better to rule a third of all the universe than a third of heaven than none at all. So when he creates Poseidon, he kind of traps himself and gets stuck in time itself. Okay, and or he goes back in time is basically what really happens. And and instead of him consuming his son like he should have, or what did the first time, what he did with Hades, this was in the underworld, he the godmother or whatever, she tricks him, and Zeus gets away. And so when Zeus takes over, he cuts open the gut, releases his brothers and sisters, and then you have your three gods. Okay, with the three gods, you have again, you have your Zeus, and you have your Poseidon. I can type today. I'm not typing anything today. There we go. It's already look. I just look and type at the same time, right? You get this trilogy of gods. Okay, pull that up. I think that's a good one there. All right, and so here it is. Now, if you notice, and this is really trippy, but this kind of displays it. Here's your Zeus, right? Okay, and here's your Poseidon. Poseidon, and then here's your Hades. I might be getting that mixed up between these two, but that's basically how, because these two are twins, and this dude here directly is the descendant of again Poseidon. He is a variation of your Satan. So now let's read. Now you kind of got the gist of it already, and how it works. We're gonna read Revelation 9 and go over the three woes. Okay. Alrighty. Let's go back to Genesis 3 because I want to always remember. I want to always bring it back to this here because this is what's important. Okay. That Revelations 9, we're talking about 3 and 1, the Lords of the Pantheon, and all this goes back here to this subtle beast, and understand also while I'm thinking about it, this is why when we go to, I'm sorry, just give me a second here. Clear this out real quick. All right. This is why when we go to, what was it? Verse 9, okay, it states, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan. So that devil and Satan, what we talk about in the 3 and 1, okay, is Poseidon, okay, and understand that he's a evolution of the same beast, okay. But in any case, let's go back to where we were, okay. 9. Okay, and the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened by the reason of the smoke of the pit. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. And it was commanded of them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God on in their foreheads. Okay, and to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was the torment of the scorpion, which striketh a man. And in those days shall men seek death, and not find it, shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. The shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle, and on their heads were, as it were, crowns like gold, and their face were as the faces of men, and they had hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions, and they had breastplates, and it was the breastplate of iron, and the sound of their wings, and was the sound of chariots of many horses running to battle, and they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months, and they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue has his name Apollyon. Now, going back to, excuse me, going back to what's going down here, you have to understand how the mythologies work. So, to sum up, and again, I'm dumbing this down to save time. Uh, Basically, what you have here is the gods when they battle each other. Okay, you can read, and you'll see this in the Epic of Gilgamesh. You'll see this in other, I think it's the Brahmas and stuff like that, where these gods will battle each other. Okay, and they'll destroy one another. Okay, but what happens here is this: when a god destroys another god, he usually takes their power. Okay, or takes their seat. He either wipes them out altogether, and the god becomes forgotten, or and then that new god takes over and moves in. Then you'll have what they'll say, which is almost exactly like the Highlander series, where they take their hand, they take their power, and all of a sudden, all the powers and stuff that's associated with that god becomes associated with the new god that took over, that won, or what have you. But that's also displayed or shown in a different way, where the power of the god that quote unquote lost consumes the persona of the god that won. Okay, this is basically your syncretism. Alrighty, in action. You have an example of this in let's bring this up here. You have an example of this in uh, in your story of David and Goliath. Okay, and let's see here, David versus Goliath. There we go, David and Goliath. Okay, when David and Goliath meet on the battlefield, they have this conversation, and in their conversation, I'm gonna continue to talk, but I got it on screen for you guys to read it. Let me bring it over just a little bit, and I'll start from the top. David and Goliath here, Bible Gateway, and give it time for you guys to read it. You can pause it, look it up yourself, but they have this conversation where Goliath states to David that he's going to take his head and present it to his God, and then David says, "No, I'm going to take your head and present it to my God." And this is basically what's they're talking about, this battle against syncretism. Um, so in any case, when you read the story of David and Goliath, look it up, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about there. But in any case, um, then there's a third variation. Okay, you learn about these histories, and these where you have these gods will have what they call sons, or sons of gods. Okay, and this can be represented one of two ways as well. This can be represented either as a demigod. Okay, this is where you get your Hercules, your Thor. Okay, or the god will take on an entirely new form and aspect that's not associated anywhere prior to this god, and all of a sudden, but it still is the same god. It just takes on a totally new form. And they say that there's a son. Well, when we're talking about um, Apollyon, Apollyon is exactly that. Apollyon is the son of Zeus. He's the son of Hades. He's the son of Zeus of the underworld. But it's funny because when you read about Hades, he doesn't like, or he gets angered you let him know or associate himself with being the god of the underworld. So he gets a little pissy about it, right? So he has his son, who is what? The sun god, who floats across the sky, returns to the underworld, whatever. But you have, so this is the same God, but now he has on a new form. And when you read the story and the histories and legends of Apollo, who does he always hang out with? Well, Apollo always hang out I believe it's Mercury, you know, or Hermes, which is your Thoth. You go back and read the Emerald tablets and stuff, right? So, so you have, they always hang out together, and they hang out together because again, they're still Zeus and they're still Hades, but you got to understand they're twins. This is why you have a lot of crossover in worship, okay, through it all. And now we notice the let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. All right, one woe is past, and behold, there come two more woes hereafter. And the sixth angel sounded, okay, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the gold altar which is before God, saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the four angels were loose, which were prepared for an hour, and a day, and a month, and a year, for to slay the third part of men. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and him that sat on them, having the breastplate of fire, and a jacinth in brimstone. And the heads of the horses were like the heads of lions, and out of their mouth issued fire and smoke and brimstone. But these three was the third part of men killed. I'm sorry, by these three were a third part of men killed by the fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths. For their power is in the power of their mouths and in their tails, and for their tails were like unto serpents, and their head and had heads with them they do hurt. And the rest of men which were not killed by these plagues yet repented not of the works of their head. Now that's going to strange out now. Look. And the rest of men which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of the works of their hands. Excuse me, I thought I said hands. That they should not worship devils. Now, in this context, what's up, swag, swinkersy? 4, 3, 2 to drop, baby. um. Oh, all right. Let's see here. And the rest of it. Oh, okay. They should not worship devils. Okay, and in this context, devils. Um. Where was my train of thought? Devils being disembodied spirits. These are your Nephilim that they're Nephilim. They have nowhere to go. They roam. So that's that more in terms of okay. And idols of gold. This idol worship, right? And idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and of wood, which neither can see nor hear nor walk. Now that's again, if you've been doing your homework and stuff like that, that's directly from the book of Abraham, basically. When he's basically talking to his dad, and because his dad's an idol maker and this, that, and the other, and he makes idols for the king, and you got to read all that story there. But again, it makes sense. This, the book of Abraham makes sense back in relation to Genesis chapter 3, verse 1. When you're going by the precepts, because the precepts, which one was it? The precepts here in Revelation 12:9 goes back to Genesis 3:1. Okay, and there's a reason. And like I say, once you go through the entire tree, then you realize that the entire chapter of Genesis 3, the entire chapter of Matthew 10, and the entire chapter of Revelations 9 are all tied together. Okay, and there's a parable there. Okay, so in any case, neither verse 21. Neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornication, nor of their thefts. Alrighty, where's I know that verse is longer than that. I know that because let's see, 20. So that should be able to go to the next page, right? My fault, y'all. My apologies. Do this here real quick. Let me see if am I missing something. I know verse chapter 20 is not just. Maybe I'm tripping. Hold on. Maybe I'm tripping. No, we ain't at verse chapter 10 already. Hold on, let me get my Bible out. Give me 1 second, y'all. My apologies. Hold on, I'm put on a brief pause. My bad, y'all. My bad. My bad. I made a mistake. I'm wrong. I apologize. We do go to the verse. I had to go to my actual Bible because I have it all written out in my actual Bible. Um, so no, we continue because we're talking about the three woes, and it does go into the next chapter. Okay. In any case, Revelations 10:1. And I saw another mighty angel come down from heaven, clothed with a cloud, and a rainbow was upon his head, and his face was as it were, and his face was as it were the sun, and his feet as pillars of fire. And he had in his hand a little book open, and he set his right foot upon the sea and his left foot on the earth, and cried with a loud voice. And as when a lion roareth, and when he had cried, seven thunders uttered their voices, and when the seven thunders had uttered their voices, I was about to write, and I heard a voice upon heaven saying unto me, seal up those things which the seven thunders uttered, and write them not. And the angel which I saw stand upon the sea and upon the earth lifted up his hand to heaven. I swear by him that liveth forever and ever, who created heaven and the things that therein in the earth, and the things that are in the earth and the sea, and the things which are therein, that there should be time no longer. But in the days of the voice of the seventh angel, when he shall begin to sound, the mystery of God should be finished, as he had declared to his servants the prophets. And the voice in which I heard from heaven spake unto me again, and said, Go, take the little book which is open in the hand of the angel, and standeth upon the sea, which standeth upon the sea and upon the earth. Now, we about to get into some really weird, interesting stuff, right? Because again, we're talking about this beast. Now, the first one, okay, go back. The first one does what? Your Poseidon, okay? This is your Poseidon, okay? He's the one that falls from heaven, and he opens the pit, okay? And then he, with his keys, releases Hades, okay? And then when you get into the next chapter here, this next angel, okay? Now we're talking about this Jesus Christ, this Jesus Christos, okay? This Zeus. And check this out. It just when you keep reading about these three, it just gets kind of weird. But in any case, let's go to it. And then let's see here. And I went unto the angel, and said unto him, Give me the little book. And he said, now the little book is the New Testament. Okay. And he said unto me, Take it and eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand, and ate it up, and it was in my mouth sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter. And he said unto me, Thou must prophesy again before many peoples and nations, tongues, and kings. Okay, so this is again all going back to this serpent, this most subtle beast. But this most subtle beast is the reason why when God gave us the commandments not to follow these things. This is why you can't have no other God before me. And like I say, many of us have many gods. And say what you will about the Greeks, but the Greeks tried to, and again, for their fault. So you have to give credit where credit is due. They really, how can I say, um, canonize these things, and the way that they do it through their mythologies, it's again pretty accurate. This is why you start to again when we're on the King Arthur drop that I was bringing. I'm about to come back and finish bringing that one back up, but you get upon these Pantheon, these League of Heroes that you keep hearing about, and it's just the way that, whether it's in the romances, ancient times, modern times, you get into this Pantheon of gods. That's being told, and it's the same stories that you keep hearing over and over again. But like the TV show American Gods, they kind of get a new swag, to keep them going. But but this is also why, they tell more truth in their fiction, and more fiction in their truth. They lie to you straight up, but they'll tell you all the truth in their fiction, and this is where you get that. So, but in any case, bringing it full circle here. Again, why is the first commandment? Okay, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt and out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Okay, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is born under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting iniquity of the fathers upon the children into the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. You can't break it down no simpler than that. And when we start researching and talking about these treaties and how all you had to do is worship this Jesus Christ and get your tract of land, that's hijack 101. And yet you serve them, you bow down to them. And now that iniquity has been visited upon us. We're the third or fourth generation in, and don't get it twisted. This is all recent, especially when you start looking at the chronologies and timelines. And now that we understand and have this foundation between this video and the last, now as I move forward and start getting into some other things, now hopefully you won't forget this. Because as we start getting into other things and start elaborating more and seeing certain things and taking the test, let's look into what does the Greek say about us? But we're going to do it through indigenous truth, through the words of the prophets, what they're saying and what's really going on. Because at the end of the day, while I'm thinking about this one here, I want to my images go. Yeah, let's go back to my images. I want to. This is something that we gotta deal with. The Hegelian dialect. All right. Let's go to run out. There we go. Can y'all see that? All right. See if I can make that bigger. Because this is something we need to understand. This is how they roll, right? This is what they do. They open up like 8 times. Probably so. Yeah, dude. Just trying to zoom. Look at this. It's saying impossible to get this thing bigger. Oh, screw it. I'll do it this way. Let me see if I can. There we go. Okay. The Hungarian dialect. Eagle's dialect, right? You got thesis, then you got antithesis, and then you have new synthesis, syncretism, or new thesis. Okay? You have the Old Testament. The Old Testament is presented with the New Testament, and we have this synthesis. Okay? The double hat. But if this and what you have, synthesis, new thesis, becomes what? Old thesis. This is why everybody thinks that when they read the Old Testament and talk about the Creator, or they interject or they put their hijack on top of the Creator and misdirect the proper, the proper appreciation, the proper respect, the proper authority, which is hey. Okay, you guys, we call God every name but Him, and we wonder why things don't work. Okay, I am that I am. Strong's coordinates. Hey. Okay, maybe you're scared to say that because it hits too close to home. That Negro, you Indian, you Aboriginal, you're the copper color race found here. But because it is magic, we can decipher it, right? Remember I said that in the last video. Once you know how these guys work, you can kind of break them down. So if this way here is hijacked, then guess what? This way here is how you get back to indigenous truth. Okay? So don't be scared. Don't be mind blown. That, and don't allow yourself to be confused. Just because the information is coming from different aspects. Remember, you are the mystery. And we're going to get into that in my next video and break that down. You're the secret. So, much love. Here. Be blessed. Stay blessed. Bless others. And we'll bring it back with the next video and the next lesson. Love y'all.